The communication habits that got you to the vice president level are actually killing your shot at the C-suite. I've watched this happen more times than I can count across almost 50 acquisitions and 2 IPOs. Nobody tells you this directly, but communication expectations change at every level of leadership. Most leaders never recalibrate. These are the 5 shifts that you need to make if you want to continue to ascend in the executive ranks. The very first shift that I want you to focus on is answering first and then providing context second. Most managers over-explain to try to prove competence, to show that they know what they're talking about. That gets you through the manager and director levels. Executives, they lead with the answer. When you are communicating with the C-suite, when you are communicating with the board, they decide within a very short window of time if you are worth listening to. You probably get 20 to 30 seconds before they lean in or just check out. The framework that I want you to focus on here is answering the question and then providing context and then opening up for questions. So what this might look like is, yes, we're not going to hit our targets. We're probably going to come in around 8% under. Here's what we're going to do to try to mitigate the risk of that happening. As opposed to, well, we struggled with this and we're not able to get this here and kind of looks like we're not going to hit our target. Do you see the difference there? When you open with that first response of here's the answer and then provide the context, people pay attention because it signals you're confident in what the next steps are going to be. You're confident in the messaging that you are conveying. This is a subtle shift. However, it is crucial for you to start to change the order of this operation once you get into the C-suite. The second thing that I want you to start focusing on is to stop thinking out loud. We fall into this trap where we are asked a question from the board member or the CEO, and we just start talking and finding our thoughts along the way. What ends up happening is you end up going down this rabbit hole, you get halfway through your response, and then you have to start thinking about, oh, how do I tie this back together? What was the initial question? Oh man, where am I at? You lose your thought along the way. This can get especially dangerous if you have a tendency to ramble. A better approach is to pause before you start speaking. It signals confidence, not weakness. It shows the people in the room that you are putting a considerable amount of thought and energy into making sure that you provide the best answer possible. Rough drafts belong up here in your head. Come up with that response. Think about one lane that you want to go down. When you are answering the question, you go down that lane, give them their 60 to 90 second response, sometimes 2 minutes if it's a complex idea or thought, and then you wait. You give them an opportunity to process everything that you just shared and then open it up for questions. Stop thinking out loud. Pause, put thought into it, and then come back with an answer that makes sense. This next one can make people feel a little bit uncomfortable, but you have to lean into it. Take a position or become irrelevant. I'm flexible means or reads as, I don't know if I want to give the wrong answer. What if at some point this comes back on me? Because a lot of people are deathly afraid of accountability. And so as they continue to ascend, they start just going with the wind and answering whatever question makes the most sense for whoever's in the room at that point in time. That's okay for a little while, but at some point, people will start to understand, well, I don't even know what Sean stands for. I don't know what's important to him. Can I trust him? Can he actually commit to anything? We see this a lot with politicians, and that's a topic for another day. But you have to be confident in who you are, what your team is focused on, and the results that you can achieve. Those executives that start to hedge, eventually they get excluded from key decisions because people will start to understand, well, Sean doesn't really make any decisions. She just kind of goes with whoever's in the room. We don't want that. State your position, back it up with a reason, and then again, open it up for questions. You can be wrong and still be respected. There were numerous occasions over the years where I wouldn't agree with senior leadership on a decision for a big project or initiative. We would go back and forth. I would state my case. They knew where I stood. We didn't agree. We would go with their decision, and I would still execute. That goes back to an episode that we had 2 or 3 weeks ago where even if you don't agree with the decision, you still have to execute. But what this does, when you take a position, people know what you stand for. They can appreciate and respect the fact that you have a spine, that you are willing to stand up for what you believe is right. Take the position or become irrelevant. Number 4 might contradict some of the things that I've shared with you guys in the past, but stick with me. I promise I'm going to tie this together for you. Don't mirror the energy in the room. You set the tone in the room. Managers, mid-level executives, they will just match the energy in the room. And okay, fair enough. That's great if you want to be amicable and get along with everybody. Real leaders, they shape the energy in the room. This is a shift that you have to start getting comfortable with, because once you start ascending to those leadership levels at the top, you are in high pressure situations. You've got town halls, crisis moments, board dynamics, all of these things, these decisions, when they come up, there's a lot of pressure on the line. If you just kind of sit back and wait for everybody else to give their answer, do you think that portrays you as a strong, confident leader? No. You have to be calm and collected. The people in the room will gradually start feeding off of your energy. When you can be the eye of the storm during high pressure situations or crisis moments, people take note. They lean in, because when everything is burning around you, they will naturally start to coalesce and follow that person that can come to the table with a plan. And just say, hey, I know this is frustrating. I know this is concerning. This is what we're going to do. Here's how we are going to move through it. That is how you set the tone, especially in these high pressure situations. Don't be afraid to look around the room. And if nobody is stepping up and setting that tone, do it. When there's a vacuum of leadership, which occurs a lot, just step into it. The last one that I want to touch on is using vocal range. If you come into every single meeting with a monotone, flat voice, yes, you sound calm and collected, but people start to tune out. You want to get comfortable with this vocal variety. Slow down when there is a lot of weight to a decision. Speed up when you want to try to bring energy to the conversation. When you are quiet, it pulls people in. Get comfortable in experimenting with using different changes in pitch and tonality and adjusting your voice to the room, and then set the tone. Again, you can adapt to the room, but then lead through the room. And use this range to make sure that people stay locked in. You want them paying attention to you. You do not want them scrolling their phone because you came at them with some Ben Stein energy. That's not the way. That's not going to win people over. It's not going to inspire confidence. These are skills that you can absolutely learn to do. Yes, it's different. It's not those individual contributor skills that got you where you are today. You've got to answer first and provide context second. Stop thinking out loud, gather your thoughts, and then deliver the message. Take a position or become irrelevant. Set the tone. Don't fall in a line and mirror everybody in the room for the duration of the conversation. And then finally, use that vocal range. These are the things that I'm always talking about. I am a firm believer that all of these things, when stacked, will be a huge differentiator for you. People will pay attention, they will listen, and they will follow you. Get comfortable with these things. Start trying them out. So my question is, which of these are you actually going to focus on this week? Hey guys, real quick, I'm always talking about executive presence and building your brand and effective communication skills. All of these things stack. They help build your personal brand as an executive, as a leader. If you are looking to focus and improve these skills, a few times a year, we host an executive presentation skills and public speaking course. If that's something of interest, click the link down below. See if you can join us so that we can level up together.